I don't know that you directed Marlon Brando. I don't know that anybody did, you know. I certainly didn't even attempt to. You just turn on the camera, capture whatever he's willing to give you. And basically, a guy like that is just going to give you a zillion options. He's going to go this way, then he's going to make a sharp left, and he's going to try this, and he's going to do things that surprise you and astound you, and, you know. So the thing to do is just keep your mouth shut, turn the camera on, and let it rip, you know.
You know, Marlon, you watch because you never know what he's going to do. Reflections on a Golden Eye is a great performance.
Which is such a strange performance, you know. And he's dancing on the edge of, like, closeted homosexuality.
There's a whole lot going on. I mean, there's a lot bubbling underneath the surface. He knew what he'd done, certainly, in terms of the work and contribution. I just don't think he really cared about it all that much. I think he probably felt like in the grand scheme of things that was small potatoes.
I am Don Juan de Marco.
You are the Don Juan?
This is correct.
I enjoyed every moment that I had with Marlon. Don Juan DeMarco being the first film that we did together was just such an amazing experience because he was just there for you, you know. They sprung a scene on us. And the majority of the scene is me kind of babbling. I didn't know the words.
Your name is DeMarco, that's Italian. You were brought up in Mexico, and when you speak English, you speak it with a Castilian accent.
Marlon said, "Don't worry, kid. He's, you know, I'll hook you up." So he cut this sort of patch of dialogue out of the script. And he said, "Here's what I'm going to do." He asked where the cameras were going to be. Found out and everything. So he said, "I want a cup of coffee in the scene." Got a cup of coffee. And he held the cup like this. I was directly across from him. And he put that piece of paper with the lines right there, where his coffee cup was hiding from every angle. And he sat there in the scene holding that cup of coffee, taking a sip, and letting me read my words, you know.
Well, my accent has been colored by my many travels. Very well, I will answer your question. I was raised in Mexico. My father was born in Queens. His name was Tony DeMarco. He was Italian, the dance king of Astoria.
Excuse me. Your father was a dance king here in New York City in Astoria?
See? We had a similar sense of humor, you know, sophomoric, like the sense of humor of like a 5-year-old kid, you know, practical jokes, that kind of thing. I called him and arranged to go up to his house for dinner. I had this little, it's a sort of a, well, fart machine, basically, isn't it? It's a little sort of rubber thing that you squeeze in your hand and you make these very beautiful, you know, noises. I'll never forget when I hit it the first time. This perfect sound came out. And Marlon looked over and he went, "Very good, John." And so then I proceeded to really start nailing it. And he wasn't hip to it. He didn't see the thing at all. And he started getting concerned, you know. He was like, "You know, my God, you know, that's not normal, man. You know, you should, something very wrong here, you know. We got to get you to a doctor." And I was holding in my laughter. And finally, at a certain point, like, you know, he was literally like getting on the phone to get a doctor to see me because he was so worried that my guts were, like, you know, exploding. So I let him in on it, and I showed him the thing. And he fell over. He was like crying, laughing. We were howling with laughter. And and I'll never forget it. He took the thing and he held it up and he said, "I found God." Sean, he's the God, you know. And he would kill me for saying that. He would absolutely, he'd just wipe up the floor with me for saying that. But yeah, no, Marlon, it sort of begins and ends with Marlon.
how would you describe yourself in, say, 30 seconds?
30 seconds, I wouldn't do it on a bet.